First thing we've been asking all of our guests here is how did you discover professional wrestling?
Yeah, so I grew up very much in the Attitude Era, like late 90s ish, mid late 90s ish. Me and my brother watched it every Monday, and during the week, those weekdays changed as the years went on. But I grew up in the Attitude Era, big fan of Lita and the Hardy Boys, and I watched it basically until Lita was no longer there. I kind of fell out of love with wrestling for a little bit there, and then when AJ Lee came back on the scene, I fell back in love with wrestling, and I started training shortly after that in 2013. Actually, yesterday was my anniversary of when I started training for wrestling. It was my 13-year anniversary. So,
Right
Wow.
on.
yeah.
So you mentioned being a huge fan of Lita. Was there a moment or a match that made you say, that's what I want to do when I get older?
Literally, the second I first saw her was when she was managing SA Rios, and I saw her
Hmm.
do that moonsault, and I was sold. Like from that moment, I was sold. Because up until that
Nice.
point, it was a lot of just watching the guys, and me and my brother would put each other in like the submission holes and everything. But it wasn't until Lita that I was like, nope, I'm gonna be a diva one day, because that's what that was the only option at the time, was a diva. So,
And now you
Yeah,
can wrestle like a
unfortunately.
woman and not
and now
wrestle
I
a
can
man.
wrestle like a woman. I have my diva moments though, so it's fine.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Lita since the Miss Congeniality days. I actually saw her
Okay.
during the ECW on TNN show before she came over to
Yeah.
WWF. So
Yeah.
I've been following her since then with Danny Dorian and Roadkill.
Okay.
I was a huge fan of hers also. I was a huge Hardy guy. One of my alter egos back in the day was Sean Hardy. I was the illegitimate cousin of the Hardy Boys. So, you know.
That's so funny. Yeah, when I unfortunately, like, I grew up like we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I couldn't. I see so many wrestlers now, and they have all these pictures with all these like wrestlers from the age of like 10. That was not an option for me. I didn't get to meet Lita until I was 21, and I literally signed up for wrestling school that same day. I was at a convention working at a booth, met her, spent like whatever money I had meeting her, and then two booths down was a wrestling school booth, and I was like, this is an option. And they're like, yeah, we're 10 minutes down the road. So I signed up that same day. So like I feel like Lita's always kind of been at all like my major like wrestling milestones, from getting me into wrestling and then like kind of being there the day I signed up for it too, which was
Right
It was
on.
cool.
like a sign because you were there,
Yeah.
like you said, just a couple booths down was a school. It was an omen.
And
Exactly.